I'm ready.
All right, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom. Welcome, family. Welcome to the Doc and the Radical program. And today, our topic is democracy is hypocrisy. This is where the deception has started. And we want to welcome Deacon of Reality to the program. Peace and blessings, Deacon. Glad that you're here with us. Peace and blessings, Doc. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good, brother. I'm real good.
Excellent, excellent. So today, again, our topic today is democracy is hypocrisy. This is where the deception starts. There's a lot of people in America who really don't know the history of America. They don't even know their own history. And I'm not just talking about Black people. They're ignorant to a lot of things. No matter whether you look at it and they don't understand Easter, they don't understand Christmas, they don't. It's just a whole lot out there that they're ignorant of, and trying to bring them into the reality of this calendar that we're on now is not the original calendar. It was changed many, 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 many times. That this is not actually the new year. This is still the old year. So a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of lies have been spent. And today we're going to look at a few different things and open it up and talk about what the real is from the fake. But so let me get your take on that, Doc, before we go to our first video. What's your thoughts on that?
I've said for the longest time that we're dealing with multiple interlocking illiteracies. People are not just illiterate in regards to the written word. Their illiteracies reinforce other illiteracies within their lives. You find people who are not only historically illiterate, they're politically illiterate. They have no understanding of socioeconomics. They have no understanding of economics in general. They have no understanding of the propaganda element that all of history and all of teaching and learning rests upon. And so you end up with a group of individuals who are a modern day um, expression of the Know Nothings, which was a political group that had gotten together. And when you would ask them about what their political platform was, because they didn't want to share it, they would say, I know nothing. I know nothing. We have a world of know nothings, and they're not lying in regards to what it is that they do not know. They are the personification of eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we shall all die. They don't believe that they have any future. They don't understand what life is about. And when you really think about it, and I'll try and shut up after this, Black folk don't even understand the science of mating.
Mm.
We're mating based upon physical characteristics and not based upon building a strong next generation. Our political leaders are those that titillate us, rappers. Really think about what this says. When a rapper has a larger platform, then people could name the top 10 rappers in the world, but I guarantee you they couldn't name 10 national level Black politicians. That's trouble. scary. And that's one of the avenues for not knowing and pervasive hypocrisy and the loss of one's rights and one's mind.
Mm. Excellent, excellent. I want to welcome Twin Pyramid to the program. Peace and blessings, Twin. I want to welcome Brother Willie Rivers to the program. Peace and blessings, Brother Willie. I want to welcome Mr. Adolfi to the program. Peace and blessings, Mr. Adolfi. Welcome, welcome, brothers. We are definitely glad that everybody is in the house. I want to look at this one, Doc. Mr. Adolfi say, there's no such thing as time, though. It's a human construct. Um, I disagree with that. I think there is a such thing as time. What's your thought?
I'm not sure. I'm one of those that I'm still trying to figure out the Matrix, the movie The Matrix. It flew over my head. So I have no position at all. I'm just a lifelong learner trying to learn.
Mm-hmm. And so with my position on time is that we can, see that even when you just look at nature progresses. You see the seasons change. And as they change, time is moving on. Time is a constant moving thing. It's not something that's a construct. It's not something that's not based on what we call reality, what's based in nature. So I don't believe time is a construct. I believe time is an actual factual. It's something that's real, and it's something that's here, and it's something that we deal with each and every day. I want to welcome Earth Angel 1105 Remix. Peace and blessings, Queen. We're glad that you made it with us today. And again, our topic today, democracy is hypocrisy. This is where the deception starts. We understand, as Doc was saying, about the know-nothings, that a lot of the American so-called populists are very ignorant to the reality of what's really going on. They're behind this mask, thinking that they know, when in reality, they know not. We just went through this New Year's, and you see people, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. But again, that's a lie. You're not in the new year. You're in the same old year that you've been in. But because they change calendars around, then you're not sure of what's going on. You're not sure of the reality. Doc, I want to show for the first video and get your take on it. Because when we see these politicians in their debates and, they're supposed to got money or whatnot, when they get on the debate stage, they go at each other. But this particular thing that we're about to watch, when I saw it, to me, it spoke volumes of, like, in other words, nigga, you ain't on my level. Shut the fuck up. Without saying it like that, but he said it a different way that, made his point very known. And so I want to go to that first video and get your take on it because, again, these lies that go on, today we're going to shed the light on them. So let's go to our first video.
I read your first book, and it said in there that your mandate in Massachusetts, which should be the model for the country. Now, I know it came out of the reprint of the book, but, I'm just saying, you were for individual mandates, my friend.
You know what? You've raised that before, Rick, and you're simply wrong.
It was true then.
No.
It's true now.
Rick, I'll tell you what. $10,000 bucks? $10,000 bet?
I'm not in the betting business,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'll show you this. I'll show you the book.
I've got the book, and
we'll show you.
I will exercise sobriety, care, stability, and make sure that in a setting like this, anything I say that can affect a place with rockets going in, with people dying. I don't do anything that would harm that process. And therefore, before I made a statement of that nature, I get on the phone to my friend Bibi Netanyahu and say, would it help if I said this? What would you like me to do? Let's work together because we're partners. I'm not a bomb thrower, rhetorically or literally.
All right. So that was the part where Mitt Romney told your former governor, Rick Perry, I bet you $10,000 to get him to shut the fuck up about the book. And that has never happened on any debate stage before. What's your thoughts on that, Doc?
No, I don't have any thoughts at all about it. I mean, it's a moment in time between two multimillionaires who are trying to be president. Rick Perry is not the smartest individual in the world, and we all know that. I don't have any real concern or viewpoint of one man telling another man, basically shut the fuck up, put up or shut up, it's really for me gamesmanship, one-upmanship, and the fact that would happen on a nationally televised debate for the highest ranked office in this nation is in many ways deplorable. However, let's be very clear that that's what the American know-nothings want. That's what the common man wants. They want to have one person denigrate another person. And it's the reason why Donald Trump has been so popular. He's entertaining. And he comes up and he basically gives everyone a nickname and demeans them in X, Y, and Z. And the American people, they clap as if they're in Rome in a gladiator arena, But that's a far cry from being anything of substance that could even hope to transform or positively impact the entire nation.
And when we're dealing with that, because to me, what I saw was, one rich white man telling to another white man who's not as rich, if your money can't match my money, then I don't want to hear a word that you say, because you're not on my level. And when you're dealing like that, it's like what they say, money talks and bullshit walks.
Yeah.
And so that what Mitt Romney was saying to him very succinctly on that international stage, because the world was watching. And I'm quite sure Governor Perry felt a little bad about that, to be embarrassed in such a way. But as you said, just as in Rome, as Rome political status and world status began to fail, they gave people the gains. And it is in these games that the American people vibrate on. What's the Super Bowl? What's this going to be? What my team this? What my team that? And forgetting about not even forgetting about, not caring about the realities of what's actually going on. That's why it said an athlete can make all these millions of dollars, but a good teacher could hardly pay their bills, pay their lifestyle, living off of what a teacher's wage is.
I know, being in education, I only know a handful of teachers who are only working at one place. The majority, after they leave their teaching gig, they're going to work somewhere else at a Dollar General or something like that. It's a sign of the times, as Prince would say, that the world has basically been turned upside down. And so when you're talking about the decline of America, and I say this quote often about Abraham Lincoln said. He said, "America will never fall from an external aggressor. She'll fall from within." And unfortunately, for my community. There's so many in our midst that are just simply American. They're not black, they're just an American. And they have, in many ways, integrated the worst of this nation: consumerism, capitalism, exploitation, being a liar, being a cheater. The old Al Davis, Oakland Raiders mantra: if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I see that in spades with our people. And it really does kind of make me separate that ilk of people and say that you're not God's people. You know, you're serving a different God. You become the monster that you should be defying.
Mm. So would you would you summarize an American as a person or an entity that is not good?
Well, certainly, certainly. I mean, this is a joke that you would have to travel internationally to really comprehend. The joke is that they'll say is, what do you call a person who speaks one language? An American.
Mm,
Only the world um, circles around us.
mm. Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. That's just like quote unquote American intelligence. I heard one of the overseas reporters after the Iraq War said that two words you shouldn't see put together: American and intelligence.
Hmm.
They don't.
An
They're not the
oxymoron. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
same.
When you're talking about who we are as a nation, it's not a pretty thing. Not at all. I mean, this is a nation with billionaires, and yet we have homelessness,
Mhm.
and we have a population on the other end of the spectrum who have decided to hell with it all. I just get on the system. I get on welfare. I'll participate in all these scams and schemes to make it through, and neither end is better than the other. You know, but they're all definitely Americans, and the American dream, the American ethos, is no longer accessible for the majority of people. Not at
Mm,
all. And even those who have been able to become homeowners, who have the car or the this and the that, they're so far in debt, that they can't sleep at night.
mm. Doc, what would you sum up the American dream and reality to be?
Now,
Yes.
to get rich or die trying,
Mm, mm,
because if you ask people what would they rather be, and this is kind of the question that, and it's sort of a remixing of the question that Todd Bridges asked on
mhm,
Little House on the Prairie. And that question, for those who weren't watching, was quite simply, would you rather live, what was it, 50 years as a white man or 80 years as a black man?
mhm,
Um, would you rather live 50 years rich in America and die, or 100 years as a working class poor person?
mm,
And when you really think about, look at our athlete class, they'll shoot things up in their bodies for some fame and some fortune for maybe a 10-year period. I was a big bodybuilder, weightlifter cat when I was in my teens and my really all the way through my 30s. And we had guys like Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman's one of the biggest humans that God has ever made.
mm,
Flex Wheeler. Um, who else we got? Mike Francois. He was the guy from Columbus. Ohio. You look at these guys now. Ronnie
Mhm.
Coleman can't walk on his own. Um, Flex Wheeler's an amputee. Mike Francois has had his own issues and what have you. But if you were to ask them, would they trade their fame and fortune from the 20s and 30s when they were on top of the bodybuilding world for just a regular life and be
All right, looks like Doc is froze. Hopefully he'll come right back in so we can, because I want to talk about Earth Angel's comment uh, that she wrote. Hopefully Doc will come right back soon. Um, okay, Doc, you're back.
Mhm.
Okay, I wanted to look at Earth Angel's comments and get your understanding of it. She says that this world is nuts. This is part of mental illnesses. You stress the people to the breaking point, a godless nation. What's your thoughts about that? Do you think that the way that America is being run and the way that people lives, it's running them as Earth Angel says, getting them stressed?
I think that when you really think about the personification of what it means to be an American, for the vast majority of Americans, it is a desire and a want. They desire things, they want things, and what have you. If you ever study Buddhism, Buddha says that the source of all anger and frustration is want. Americans want. And when you're talking about want, they want designer purses. They want the best champagne. They want, the best, what they term the best food and what have you. They live a rich life that black folk, or they pursue a rich life that their ancestors never even desired. So in many ways, when we're talking about who we are as far as want and being stressed out, yeah, once you've been indoctrinated with this is the best, this is what you should have, this is what you should aspire for towards. If you buy into that hook, line, and sinker, you going crazy out in this rascal. And I don't care if you hit the Powerball, you're going to go crazy because in many ways, that peace and that serenity and that satisfaction that you should be pursuing, money can't get you that. Not at all. Money will never get you that. It's the equivalent of being hungry because you haven't eaten in 3 days. And instead of going to get some food, you go read a book. Reading that book is never going to satisfy that physical hunger that you have. Just as purchasing a Birkin bag, going out and getting such and such car so people can see you in it, that will never feel that soulful spiritual hole that you have at your core.
Mm. So, Doc, what is the balance? Because if we look at another comment that Earth Angel made, I can't stand materialism. I want my peace of mind. Look at what it has gotten the state of this world.
Mhm.
And then, I want to welcome Nothing But the Truth to the program and Tranquil to the program. Nothing But the Truth says, Black people want to live like the beast. Where is the balance between, or is there such a balance between healthy materialism and, not living in poverty? Where is the balance?
I think that you did right there. You created another oxymoron like American intelligence. The idea of healthy materialism is a falsity. There
Mm.
is no such thing as healthy materialism. We all have a certain amount of needs You need to have shelter. You need to have food. You need to have clean air to breathe, clean.
Okay, doctor's froze again. Hopefully he'll come right back so we can get his full understanding on healthy and materialism. Um, I think that there should be some type of balance between the two. Okay, you're back now.
Yeah, I can't believe that my sister didn't pay for this Spectrum Wi-Fi. It's amazing to me. My God, you know what I'm saying? My God, they actually pay for this. It go out every 3 minutes. But the idea of a balance, of developing a balance, I believe that a balance does come from knowing God and aligning yourself with God, and understanding that you don't want to be a slave to other things, because if you're a slave to something else, you're not going to be able to in any way honor God, because you have another master that is on top of you. Now, how do you position yourself that way? I believe that, for me, and I use this term that I just picked up recently. My rich life. My rich life is not predicated upon materialism. My rich life is predicated upon a peace of mind and being able to sit down and read a book without having the worries of the lights being turned out. To know that I can go somewhere if I desire to. Um, but I don't. My balance is not predicated upon an idea of, well, I have to be at this place. We got to go eat here and spend $600-700. That's insanity to me. So I think that's how you get that balance. You figure out what it is that you need, and then I figure out maybe one or two things that you want. But to be out here selling your soul, running yourself ragged, causing mental injury onto yourself for the sake of some cloth, some metal, is crazy.
Mhm. Definitely. I want to welcome MDP to the program. Peace and blessings. We're glad that you're here with us, family. So, Doc, when let's just take a real quick. When you're dealing with, as you talked about, the clothing,
Mm-hmm.
the shoes, where
Mm-hmm.
pair of sneakers is $500, and the children see it. Oh, I gotta have these. I gotta have these. The parents, oh, I gotta have these. My child gotta have these. You're gonna spend $500 on some sneakers, but your child's education is shitty poor. What is it that, or can you pinpoint a time when we made that switch, that we became so materialistic and forgot about the things that were actually needed? When did that switch, to your recollection? How did that happen?
To be honest with you, historically, I believe that Black folk were always materialistic.
Mm.
But the truth of the matter is that without the outside influence of white America, especially meaning commercials and businesses who were piping into your house, starting with probably the mid to late 60s and
Mhm.
accelerating past that point. Black folk were the ones that were setting the trends. We were setting the styles. And so we didn't have to look anywhere else, for what it was that was cool, what it was that was hip, and what have you. And we would put it together the way that only we could put it together, and we were satisfied with that. But I think that when you're talking,
All right, doctor's froze again, so we gotta give his dirty internet a little bit time to get it together. Hopefully, it'll kick back in really soon, um, so he can finish making his point. I don't really want to jump in. and begin making some points, and then he comes right back. So hopefully he comes on real soon. But I will say this, and I want to get to. Okay, he dropped all the way. Okay, he's back. All right, welcome back, Doc.
Man, look here. I'm only here for a moment, I guess. I've never seen nothing this raggedy in my life. My God, I know I'm in small town America, but Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm in a third world country. Nah, man, you, Mr. Adolfo, I'm technically on vacation. I'm in Ohio, and yeah, and I doggone sure ain't gonna plug no cable from this cable company into my computer. No way. But I think that when you're trying to pinpoint, it's kind of difficult to pinpoint a moment. Yeah, okay, Deacon of reality. I'm gonna let you make it on that one right there. Um, but when you're trying, it's kind of historically speaking, it's difficult to pinpoint. Well, it happened at this moment or this event, but I I know for sure that the integration of American schools, which allowed an outside community to begin pouring not just historical information and literature and culture and what have you into our children, but also their values. And the goal is no longer for HBCU students who are going to, and keep in mind, PWIs took our best and our brightest, what they deemed our best and our brightest. That goal for them transforms. It's no longer about going to school, learning business so you can go back and you can run the local grocery store. No, the goal becomes to get an education, a semblance of an education, and go work at an IBM and make more money than anybody in with your DNA profile has ever made before. So we have an alteration of what we value. The value is no longer in pouring into the next generation. The value is now going to be predicated upon purchasing a house in the correct suburban area. And by the early 1970s, and we have to remember that it's the late 60s, early 1970s that we end up with the big three, meaning Maynard Jackson becoming mayor of Atlanta, Richard Hatcher becoming the mayor of Gary, Indiana, and Carl Stokes becomes the mayor of Cleveland, Ohio. It's a clear sign that white folk have sort of begun conceding urban America, and they're moving into suburban areas. Black America is going to be exposed to the material creature comforts of a white society, and they will begin to adopt the worldview and even the actions and activities of these people to go out and get those things that, when you really think about them, mean nothing. And it's one of the reasons. And if you really go back and you look at our history of quote unquote gangsters, you can look at an Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson. You can look at a Frank Lucas. We have all of these so-called gangsters within our community. Well, they were a positive effect had a positive impact in some ways within Black America. If your dear mother passed, ain't no white insurance company going.
Doc is froze again. Hopefully he'll come back real quickly. Because when he does get back, I want to check out some more of these comments. We want to talk about, as Tranquil says, about social media and its impact. I want to get into that comment. I want to get into also Earth Angels remix about comment about her creator and how that works. Okay, so Doc, he'll be back again shortly. But all of these things have to be discussed because, for one thing, when we deal in social media, then that is a world in and of itself, but it's not a world that's based on anything that's truth. And so when you as an adult, and okay, we got Doc back, so let's bring Doc on.
Yeah,
All right, welcome back.
hopefully this works. I'm gonna try and run it through my hotspot because
Okay.
you know. But the thing is that when you really do look at it from that standpoint, that we allow them access, and not only within the classroom, but also through TV, through radio, and what have you, to dictate to us what our values should be.
Mhm.
And the idea of getting quote unquote rich for black folk in the 1960s and 70s, for the vast majority of them, was predicated upon being able to help and take care of others. The gangsters that were doing the numbers and what have you, they would be in many ways a bank for black folk. Ain't no white go. You go down there right now and ask some white folk for some money to start a business and see what they're gonna say. Black folk
Mhm.
will give you a leg up. My aunt Joan, my mother's oldest sister, she always preached this to me. She said, always remember this: pay your black bills first.
Mhm.
Meaning, if you borrow some money from black folk, pay them first, because white folk ain't gonna loan you no money.
Mhm.
And if you can't borrow from black folk, you really in trouble. Your credit's horrible. So, in many ways, that's the change. You're looking at the 1970s. You're looking at it at a moment where America's coming out of a very radical period of the 1960s. Americans are tired and they want to have fun, and it
Mhm.
leads to the arrival of that white girl within white America, cocaine. Black America. We were dealing with heroin. But you're dealing with a moment of opulence, and then the arrival of Ronald Wilson Reagan in 1980. Wall Street took over. And that's when America really became America. People were not making the type of money that they're making now um, until Reagan arrived.
Mhm.
Black folk foolishly think that they're going to be a part of that club, and their priorities have changed to a point where they're trying to floss. They're trying to floss, and they're trying to, look like a big man and what have you in front of the world. But all in all, when you're talking about what happened to us and happened to our values, you got too close to white folk, and you adopted their way as being the right way and the correct way, and sadly the only way. And that's a way of exploiting others.
Mhm. Mhm. Doc, I want to hit on. I want to take a look at these comments and get your reply. Let's see. Okay, Tranquil says one of the greatest challenges we face is the influence of social media on the developing minds of our children. How do you recommend we teach our children to define their own rich life?
I think that the definition of a rich life um, is so specific to an individual. There are some people who their rich life is going to be eating out. For some people, their rich life is going to be being able to travel first class and what have you. It is the probably the best way is to, number one, tell your children that first off, you are enough. As you were created, you are enough. You don't need to go out and please others. Now let's talk about who you are, and who are you innately built to be as a human being by God. What do you find funny? What do you find enjoyable? There are some people who don't find some women who don't find makeup and weave to be their rich life, whereas you got some that may consider that their rich life. So it's helping a child develop, be courageous, and step forward, and saying, "Hey, world, here I am. This is who I am," and being so comfortable and unshakable on that personal hill that they have, that they don't abandon it from the due to, I won't even call it pressures, but I will say the proclivity and the overwhelming amount of programming that tries to tell you, no, you should value this, you should like this, you should want to do this. Nah, have your child develop their own rich life, defining who they are and enjoying their rich life.
Excellent, excellent. And then nothing but the truth says advertising and movies got us. Doc, do you believe that whoever the cracker is that came up with advertising, do you believe that they planned in their minds to be able to figure something out, how to move people away from what is safe, what is comfortable, to have them to smoking the cigarettes and killing yourself and not even know it? Do you believe that they methodically planned how to get this done through their movies
Should
and
I,
advertising?
I know they did. You can go to college and major in advertising. It is a science. You ever notice that when we used to have malls, now people are shopping at home, but we used to have malls. There aren't any clocks in malls, not within the store, because they don't want you to be aware of what time it is. You can go in there, you can walk around and meander, and you're gonna buy stuff after stuff after stuff after stuff you didn't even know that you needed. Like I said, I'm in Ohio right now. My sister and I and my dad, we have an addiction, and that addiction is Kroger's. Okay, all three of us, we love Kroger's. I don't know why. We fucking love Kroger's. Okay, if Kroger's ain't got it, you ain't supposed to get it. We were in Kroger's earlier today, under the guise that my sister needed to pick up some medicine from the pharmacy. I knew it was a lie. She just wanted to fucking go to Kroger's. Okay, she could have got her medicine delivered anywhere other than Kroger's. So we're in Kroger's. I had to pick up. I was looking for some sun-dried tomatoes. I was going to make shrimp linguine today. Okay. She walks away from me. She's going down the aisle, and I watched her. She gets to the end cap of the aisle, stops, pivots, and picks something up. I had to yell the full length of the aisle, "Yo, focus." Okay? She was supposed to be going where? To the pharmacy. She couldn't even make it out the aisle without being distracted by some colorful thing that was sitting there. And she's literally got it in her hand, reading it. Focus. You have to, if you're not consciously aware of advertising, they're gonna get you. You're gonna be buying all kind of stuff that you don't really need. They have it down to a science of how to position things, how to do X, Y, and Z. It is convincing. It is entertaining. It is enjoyable. I think I told you this one show before, that I believe that I know I was born at the wrong time. When people are able to define their gender and what they actually are, yo, I wanted to be an Ewok. That was my goal in life. And I remember being pissed at my dad when I woke up on Christmas and he didn't have a damn Ewok under that Christmas tree. I didn't want none of that damn bullshit he had bought. I want an Ewok. And in my mind, it was like it was a puppy or a dog or something. This was going to be my friend. I saw his ass on Star Wars. How come he ain't here right now? And the thing is that advertising, when you're talking about tapping into the male psyche, the female psyche, it's a science to it. It's not happenstance that they're creating these things, and some movies are more successful than others. It's not happenstance. You want to get the and think about this. If you want to stoke the fires of American nationalism. Give them a Top Gun. Man, I left out a Top Gun. If they had the U.S. Air Force recruiters standing outside, I would have signed up, full of adrenaline, ready to go. Okay. And if they can do that to me in regards to a life choice like that, Lord knows that they can do that in regards to putting a product in front of you or putting a certain behavior in front of you. You know, one of the most damaging characters that we've ever had on the big screen comes out of Menace to Society. Okay. As a trans Ewok. Okay. we let's take that shit down. We got a local comedian up in here calling me a damn trans Ewok. What shit is that? When you're looking at and here go Deacon of reality laughing his ass, having their ass up. When you're talking about advertising something for someone, you know, who's the it girl right now? Who's the hot one? Well, pay them $200,000 to go ahead and carry this purse. You over there cracking up. LGBT walk. See, for those of you who think that Brother Maurice is always B1 and trying to whip ass, this is another side of him that y'all have never seen. Laughing fucking hilariously at stupid ass shit that the rest of you pseudo revolutionaries are stoking. He trying to turn his damn camera off. He laughing so hard. But you know, you really look at this whole idea of marketing to people. Thank you. I'm on my hotspot. Hopefully that don't run out. But when you're dealing with advertising, and I'll tell you, one of the first moments where you had a major national, if not international, moment of advertising was when Snoop Dogg appeared on Saturday Night Live, and he wore a Tommy Hilfiger shirt. And Tommy Hilfiger said he said we didn't have to pay him. He said we just gave it to him. And the day after he appeared, that Sunday, Saturday Night Live, that Sunday, Tommy Hilfiger alleges that he sold over 50,000 of those little sweatshirts that Snoop had. And it simply had Tommy across the front of it. Okay. And so put that item because there's something about being a part of a community that has been downtrodden, okay, that has been ignored, that when we see one of us doing well or doing something, we rally to support them because we want to support our brother or our sister. You know, that's almost like shooting fish in a barrel if you're an advertiser. Put that shirt on Snoop. They love Snoop. Put these booty shorts on Beyonce. They love Beyonce. They'll go out and they'll kill each other to get it. How many sisters and you have to think about how silly and impressionable our people appear to be. Remember when Beyonce had a song or some shit where she said, "I got hot sauce in my purse," and all these silly black girls went out and got hot sauce and kept it in their purse. So we are an advertiser's dream, to be absolutely honest with you, because we're the ones that are, not that we have more disposable income than other folk, we don't, but we do spend more than other folk do. You know, you have to think that we will go out and buy a Easter suit and be paying for that rascal for 6 months until Christmas come around. We go get us a Christmas suit to wear Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then we're gonna pay for that for 6 months until Easter come back around. You know, so that's who we are. This is not happenstance. This is not a situation where they just fell into how do you advertise and market to people. It's a science, and it's the reason they advertise and market to women, because women spend the most money. Men don't
Mhm.
spend money like women.
Mhm. Doc, we had a
LGBE walk. What kind of shit is that?
we had a comment. I'm trying to find it.
Lord, Lord knows what kind of comment it is tonight, boy.
Oh man, here we go. Nothing but the truth said. Black women make black men materialistic. What's your thoughts on that? You find that to be what the
Black,
case is?
black. Well, I can speak for myself, and I can tell you, black women have not made me materialistic. However, I also recognize that as a black man, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get the attention of a black woman that I want. Okay, and I got a homeboy who met this girl, and he was like, "Yo, man, I really like this chick." Blah 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 blah. Okay, they had met online. During their first meeting, she said something to him that changed his life. She said, I knew when I met you that there'd be something wrong with you." And he was
Mm,
like, "What the fuck is wrong with me?" She said, "You got on dirty shoes." And
what?
it was the first time that he had ever heard the term dirty shoes. Yeah, and from her evaluation, his shoes were dirty. That brother damn near don't wear the same pair of shoes twice to this day, because
Mm,
of that, that's what she said. And I believe that there's something to that, where women are in many ways setting the standard for men, because men are going to do what they need to do to get next to a woman they want, by and large. Yet at the exact same time, I believe that between advertising, which is going directly to men as well, um, they're carving out what type of woman physically will be the top woman, and men are checking for that woman. So you see men kind of guiding, some men guiding women into a certain lane, and you see women for sure guiding some men into a certain lane. So it's kind of a which came first, the chicken or the egg type of situation. So I understand that. I believe that there are a lot of brothers who are now materialistic and really going out there trying to get it because they want the trappings of what it looks like, of what attracts a certain type of woman, you know.
mm. You know, I want us to go back and look at this video real quick, and because we're talking about women and we're talking about advertising, and I think it really falls right in there. So I want to get your thinking on this again. Um,
Well, here's a different way to get the vote out, right? Dancers from Atlanta strip clubs are creating a very unique ad called Get Your Booty to the Pole. And it takes a backseat to no one. Dancers talk about voting is so important and they're showing off their skills. It's not safe for work, folks, but it's a big hit on social media.
so here you have like that, Doc. Um, Advertising get you out there to the polls, and they're using strippers to make the ad. And again, this wasn't done before. So like we really crossed over into a new phase. How much power do black women actually have to make you go vote, or to make you buy these materialistic things, to make you change everything about yourself?
I think there's so much of it, and this ties into one of Spike Lee's recent films that I think was a box office flop. where the sisters refused to have sex with men unless they registered to vote. The primal nature of so many undeveloped men is quite simply getting in between the legs, clapping the cheeks of some big booty sister. Um, that in and of itself does not translate into becoming politicized. They'll do whatever they're called upon to do to be able to achieve that primal urge or what have you. But that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to be predatory and what have you. Um, Same thing with materialism. That if women are saying, "Girl, boy, you ain't even got no gold on, you ain't got no chain, you ain't got, where it at," he gonna go out and try and get that. If that really impacts his heart and his life, and he doesn't know what the really good things are in life, so it could affect a lot of people like that. I have a former student. She is, for my money, the greatest student I've ever had, and I'm proud to say her name, Jasmine Parker. And Jasmine's dope, and I knew she was dope from the very beginning. I come into class one day. She was a junior or a senior. She was an upperclassman. And there's Jasmine sitting in her regular seat with weave in her hair.
Mm.
It was the first time I had ever seen her like that. Okay, where she looked like LL Cool J's Around the Way girl. Okay. It stunned me to the point that I didn't start class. I excused myself from class. I went into the restroom and I had some tears come out of my eyes because I was like, oh my God, they didn't got Jasmine. Meaning the cultural and societal pressures has finally got this child to conform to what it is with all of this bright future that she got, that I didn't wrote out for her in my head. They got her. Damn. Later she told me. That she had actually put that in her hair to as a protective style to grow her hair out so it could look like her mother's hair. Okay.
Mm.
And she did become Dr. Parker. But it's one of those things of society demanding that you look a certain way and you conform a certain way. And the vast majority of people are simply followers. Let's be clear on that.
Mhm.
We've in our lifetime, Brother Maurice, we've seen this pendulum swing from left to right. We've seen sisters perm it up, or as Stokely Carmichael referred to it as a temporary, because Mother Africa gonna come back and snatch it back up. And then we've seen them follow a trend led by maybe a Lauryn Hill or Lettucey, and they go natural. But they're following a trend. It's not necessarily an individualized political statement. So men fall into it and women fall into it as well. I mean, how many brothers do we know who sag their pants?
Mhm.
And they're only sagging it because it's a quote unquote style. They're trying to convey an image or what have you. But ultimately, when you add it up, and I deal with black men in regards to this specifically. One of my very close friends, Mario Martin, Mario referred to that look, and he was working in the juvenile court system. He says, when I go to court to advocate for a young man and I see him dressed like that, my mind goes to, damn, he's got on the uniform of the defeated.
Mm. 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 But um, as far as democracy goes, in your
Back that up. It was a jarble for me.
as far as democracy goes, in your
Mhm.
understanding, is democracy really the best form of government that people should be in? Because and I want to take this time to welcome Gregory Calloway to the program, Peace and Blessings. He said that only Black people really, you hear them using the term democracy so much. Um, but is democracy the best form of government? And here in America,
Yeah, I
we
mean,
don't.
democracy is the greatest form of government. If you in the majority, and you got all the political power and what have you, a Bill Clinton appointee, Lonnie Guinier. Lonnie Guinier
Mhm,
wrote this brilliant book titled "The Tyranny of the Majority." Whereas
mm,
you have a situation where if you're numbers wise, you are the majority, you can be tyrannical.
mm,
Black folk cannot win. Nobody can win in a representative democracy where you are so numerically inferior. You can hope to be the swing vote, but nothing more than that. So in many ways, you're at the whim of others to go ahead and get their priorities done, get their children through school, set up legislation that will benefit them.
mhm.
Okay, you're at their whim. That's what American democracy actually is. It is a situation where numerical might, especially when it's numerical white might, always equals right. And for people who, Paul Mooney, one of my favorite comedians, him and Richard Pryor, Mooney said this, and is coming back to fruition in regards to the affirmative action debate. Mooney says, I told my Native American friends, don't sign shit till you talk to us.
Mm,
Okay? Now, somebody should have told the Asians that, because these white folk have convinced the Asians, well, look, if they didn't have affirmative action and we're letting those black people in, more of y'all could get in. And now, since affirmative action has been struck down, they ain't letting they stupid asses in either.
mm.
You'd have been had, hoodwinked, led astray, run amok, and didn't even realize that that's what the long game was. You haven't seen that brother that attacked that judge?
Yeah, we got it on the
Oh,
thing. Y'all
somebody
hold
put that
on.
on.
Y'all
I
getting
said,
ahead of
yeah,
the agenda. Slow it
yeah.
down.
He
Slow down.
sound like brother jumped up there like he was Spawn, Blade or somebody. I said, damn, what is this, a trailer for Blade 3? But in many ways, when you're talking about this whole idea of a representative democracy in particular, and you're the minority group, you can just hope to make deals and angles, and maybe you can get a line item added to some. But by and large, nah. It's a horrible, horrible um, way to run a nation, and you have to remember that's why you have a U.S. Senate and a House of Representatives. Regardless of how many people you have or you do not have, you only get two voices in the U.S. Senate. Now, the House of Representatives is predicated upon the idea population. So these so-called august founding fathers even knew that. But right now, and I can say forever, all the way in the past to this very day, black folk have not been given ample representation, and they never will as long as they're a numerical minority. And it's getting worse because this country is browning. It's not blackening; it's browning.
Mm, excellent, excellent. I want to take us since y'all brothers are getting ahead of the agenda here.
Nah, somebody put that in there, and you know that you got comedians down here today, you know, talking crazy.
Deacon getting ahead of our agenda. But we're definitely going to get on that. And Mr. Dofer is right on time. Brother Malcolm said blacks are the swing vote because whites are going to be 50-50. So I want to go to Malcolm and let's watch this quick video about Malcolm. It seems like the chat is right on cue where we're going. So let's go ahead and get there.
There's no sound for us.
Oh, no sound? Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on.
You don't scare Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way. They put their club upside your head and then turn around and accuse you of attacking them. Every case of police brutality against a Negro follows the same pattern. They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court, has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give? My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this. And it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves. They attack the victim. And then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. This is American justice. This is American democracy. And those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me. Democracy is hypocrisy. If democracy means freedom, why aren't our people free? If democracy means justice, why don't we have justice? If democracy means equality, why don't we have equality? Who are you? You don't know? Don't tell me Negro, that's nothing. What were you before the white man named you a Negro? And where were you? And what did you have? What was yours? What language did you speak then? What was your name? It couldn't have been Smith or Jones or Bunch or Powell. That wasn't your name. They don't have those kind of names where you and I came from. No, what was your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now? 20 million black people in this country have been like boys in the white man's house. He even calls us boys. Don't care how big you get, he calls you boy. You can be a professor. To him, you're just another boy. I heard him calling Ralph Bunch. Well, he's a good old boy. And if we can't do it, we should hush our mouth. If you can't do for yourself what the white man is doing for himself, don't say you're equal with the white man. If you can't set up a factory like he sets up a factory, don't talk that old equality talk. Get off the welfare. Get out of that compensation line. Be a man. Earn what you need for your own family. Then your family respects you. They are proud to say, that's my father. She's proud to say, that's my husband. Father means you're taking care of those children. Just because you made them, that don't mean you're a father. Anybody can make a baby, but anybody can't take care of them. Anybody can go and get a woman, but anybody can't take care of a woman. Yes, we hate laziness. We hate drunkenness. We hate dope addiction. We hate nicotine. We hate all of the vices that the white man has taught us to partake in. And he accuses us of hating him. Why? Because the white man knows you're more dangerous sober than you are drunk. Yes. You are more dangerous sober than you are drunk. He's not worrying about no dancing, singing, clowning Negro. He's worried about you when you stop dancing, when you stop singing, when you stop clowning and start thinking. Then he gets worried. And you should keep him worried. And now you know you need someone to teach you to respect your woman. You say, well, what about the white woman? No, you've been respecting her. Every time you see a Negro man, he got his head on, showing his teeth to some pale-skinned white woman. And the mistake that you and I have made is leaving our women unprotected. Anybody can get to her. Anybody can abuse her. Any old white man can come and pat a black woman. Can he not? And we are teaching the white man keep his hands and his eyes off our women. What makes the so-called Negro unable to stand on his own 2 feet? He has no self-confidence. He has no proud confidence in his own race, because the white man destroyed your and my past, destroyed our knowledge of our culture. And by having destroyed it, now we don't know we have any achievements, any accomplishments. And as long as you can be convinced that you never did anything, you can never do anything. This is why the white man, his little children, he tells them about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, all these white heroes. But we are never taught about any black heroes. Only someone we're shown in history is my grandfather was picking cotton. Cotton picking don't move me. No. But when it comes to teaching the black people something about great black men who stood their ground, who were scientists, who were civilizers, who were fathers of culture and civilization, the white man has shrewdly written that role out of the textbook. And today, the effect that it has on you and me, we don't think we can stand on our own 2 feet. We wake up, we clean up, and we stand up. And once we can stand up like a man on our own feet, we stop begging the white man. And we stop apologizing to the white man. We stop compromising with the white man. Then the world will look at us with recognition and respect. But as long as you're running around here wearing the white man's name, bragging about you one of the Jones, or one of the Browns, or one of the Smiths, or as long as you're running around here bragging about your part in this so-called American democracy, then you will always be looked down upon as a chump by the white man. You never will be given recognition nor respect. Your problem will continue to go unsolved, and we'll still be in the same rut or ditch 1,000 years from now that we're in right now.
He's clapping back at who? Dave Chappelle.
All right, so that was Brother Malcolm. And I want to talk about what Brother Malcolm, before I ask you some questions about that, Doc, do you want to express what you heard from Malcolm?
You know, the idea, which is not necessarily an original idea coming from Malcolm, people had stated it before, you know, of Black independence. You know, I always revert back to the Mac, where Max Julian's brother in the movie was Roger Mosley of Magnum PI fame. And he's given his speech. He's this fiery Black nationalist. And he says, what we need to be about doing is creating a nation within a nation, but without a nation. That's still the path. That's still the grandest solution that we can do. Creating a nation within a nation, without a nation. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't participate as far as national level electoral politics, but the game where you can win is at the local level. And you have to come up with a strategy to win. One of the things that I'm tired of seeing, and I've seen it my entire life, is that there is a propensity of Black America to behave as if we are the numerical majority. And we don't have to act as if the political season is 365 days, 24/7. It is for us. But that political season extends well beyond just the idea of casting a vote, well beyond studying a candidate. You know, it has to, you know, and this is This is ironic for us to say it this way, but we need to look at what the Jews have done and how, with their small numerical populace, are able to educate their own children, able to have their own communities, their own businesses, and what have you. We need to be focused upon developing our own. And if we develop our own, we also need to be able to be limber enough and have enough dexterity to duck and dodge, stick and move in regards to those who come and try and take what it is that we built. And that's what our political leaders are supposed to be doing. But as long as our political leaders are as poor as they are at the present moment, we don't stand a chance.
Awesome. So, Doc, Malcolm said that we are more dangerous sober than we are drunk. Um, is that why there's these liquor stores on every corner in the inner city of Black communities? Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
Well, certainly. I mean, I come from a different background, and it is quite simply that I'm proud to say I've never had a drink of anything. Um, and one of the few things that I'll give you this insight of me, that I did smoke the Chiba once. Yeah, and I was a sophomore at Ohio State, and I'm walking down our main street, and we had this music hall called the Newport Music Hall, and I'm walking down, and I look to the right, and there is fucking George Clinton in Parliament, and my uncles were the world's biggest Parliament and Funkadelic fans, and I'm like, man, I looked at him. I said, "Yo, you know who you are?" And George Clinton, he looked at me, and he just did like this, and held out some weed, and I actually hung out with Parliament for the entire day. Went to their concert and all. It was the wildest day of my life. I never had a day like that ever again. That concert didn't end about 4 a.m. Okay, and if you ever wondered how Parliament and the Funkadelic, how they played for so long, they had like 52 different band members. And when one of them got tired, he'd go in the back and literally go to sleep, take a nap, and get back up and go back out there, and somebody else would go off the stage and take a nap. But one of the things that when you're talking about being sober and being serious about things, most times when people are self-medicating themselves through drugs, through alcohol, what have you, they're trying to force in a good time in the midst of misery. And as long as you're trying to do that, you're not enjoying these things from a celebratory position, whereas quite simply you've gone ahead and accomplished the goal, and now y'all gonna toast with champagne and what have you. Our people have historically been doing this without any reason to celebrate, which gives you an idea that we're trying to quell and deal with some hurt and some pain. And what Malcolm is saying is, get off of the liquor, get off of the drugs, and let's go out here and let's deal with what it is that is causing you to feel as if you need to self-medicate yourself. We gotta be sober, and we gotta be serious, and we have to be proactive, not just reactive in regards to what it is that white folk are putting on us, but also the fact that our souls tend to lean towards wanting to have a good time.
Excellent. So, Doc, when Malcolm said that we don't have confidence in our own race because we don't know our history, expound on that just a little bit, because we see that you can't even teach history any longer, and if somebody feels like their feelings are hurt, it's illegal to teach. So, can you expand on that a little bit? Why is that such an important thing?
Why is what such an important thing?
That you have to know your history so you can have confidence in your own race.
I mean, the thing is that if you don't know the path that you've gone this far, you don't even know your identity. There's so much that can be found within history. Self-esteem, strength, honor, courage, even some cowardice. So to understand the path that one has gone should liberate and embolden you. When I the first day of my class, I always deal with this idea of Erica Badu. I use Erica Badu, and I use her great construct of bag lady. Bag lady, you carrying all these bags, you can't hurry up. Niggas see you coming, niggas take off running. So many of my students approach me, they enter my class with baggage. And that baggage is that they've studied from K through 12 the same white historical narrative that, that standard that all Black children know. So I asked them, how many of you have read The Diary of Anne Frank? Damn near every hand goes up. And I turn that around and I say, how many of you have read Asada? And then I begin to ask them, who is Asada? That's Tupac's mom. And I'm like, no, that's Afeni. And then I asked them, which one do you think is more applicable to your history, to your past? A white girl that hid in a damn closet, or a sister who is right now still alive in exile in Cuba, a Black freedom fighter, one of the leaders of the Black Liberation Army? And they've never heard of Asada. I've had students who are from Tulsa, Oklahoma. They've never heard of Black Wall Street. They've never heard of the bombing that occurred there, because it is, quote unquote, not allowed to be taught per dictate of a majority white school board. What they're doing is they're robbing you of your identity. They're robbing you of your sense of purpose. Because here on the one hand, you have a situation where you celebrate a individual like George Washington, who is the world's greatest trader. George Washington was an American general, but he was taught military science by the British. Yet, we're going to laud George Washington, but look down our noses at Nat Turner, Gabriel, Denmark, all of the Black freedom fighters. They never heard of them. And so in many ways, you've been, in the words of Lupe Fiasco, you've been dumbed down. And the problem with being dumbed down is that, scripture says, so as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you ain't got nothing to think about positive about Black folk, then yeah, you're going, and you're Black, you in trouble. You're in trouble. And it is in many ways the core, the heart of the problem of Black youth, of Black adults, of Black retirees, that you don't know your past, you don't know your history, you don't know what you've been through. And the truth of the matter is that we need to know our history to really understand that something significant and substantial happened to Black people. We didn't come up in this motherfucker like this. And the fact that you allowed them, and this is why I talk about the idea of fighting local. You need to get your Black ass on that school board so that you can have a voice when they take that vote. What we tend to do is allow for the school board to be set, and then they're going to announce, we getting ready to take all the Black shit out. Then you want to come up to the school board meeting and scream and holler, you white motherfucker, blah, blah, blah. Well, the die has been cast. It's too late then. And that's why I say that we have to be proactive, and we also have to be willing to fight them at every venue. You need to fight outsiders, even based upon who got the best General Tso's chicken. If there's a Chinese food restaurant in your neighborhood, you need to start a Black Chinese restaurant. You need to issue a challenge. And Black folk need to realize that those are Black dollars, and Black dollars matter, just like Black votes matter.
Definitely. So, Doc, let's look at this thing where you're saying with history, if you teach black people about Denmark Vesey and all the greats who actually stood up and fought,
Mhm.
then that's going to produce a similar thinking in the minds of black people. Would you
N-
agree?
No, no, I don't necessarily agree with that, because what's occurring is that I can teach. We could do an hour special lecture here, and I could tell black folk about Denmark. Okay, it may affect some, but not enough to change the world. What I'm talking about is from the rooter to the tutor. From the beginning of that child learning, it should be a black woman. The black woman is the first teacher of the black child. When that child goes off to school, that child should be going to a place where it is black minded, black liberation minded. We want to create a situation where it's their only reality. It's the reason why, with all of his problems, his cross dressing, and what have you, former FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, when they asked J. Edgar Hoover what was the single greatest threat to the internal security of the United States, he said grits. And most people said, "What is Hoover doing crazy? Grits?" And Hoover said, "What I'm talking about is the free breakfast for children program and free lunch program that the Black Panther Party is running. What do you think is going to come when you take young, impressionable kids and you teach them Black is beautiful, free Huey, set our warrior free, free Huey, versus those children that you got over there in the public school system making animal noises and shit? Old McDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Who you think gonna be liberation minded at the end?" Hoover was very clear on that. Hoover said we got to break that up. In the lengths that they went to break it up, any Catholic priest that was allowing his church or his kitchen to be used to prepare food for these young black and brown children who didn't have enough to eat at home because of institutionalized racism, transfer them out of that diocese.
Mm.
It's just what it is. You have to the most. I mean, if you listen to white folk, they tell you this. Winston Churchill, as they're going into war, Winston Churchill said, we need to ratchet up our most prized possessions, books and bottles. We need to have more children, and we need to educate them to see the world as we want to see them. We talked about the idea of manufacturing consent. We all should be reading the same thing. If we're all reading the exact same thing, we may have a subtle nuance or two in regards to something, but we're all going to agree what the ultimate goal is, and we're all going to understand the hell that black folk have gone through. You know, I'll give you one of the saddest examples, that I to this day it befuddles me. I wanted to switch up what my students were reading. We usually read the autobiography of Malcolm X, so I switched it up and I used The Invisible Man. Over half of my students came to class with a copy of The Invisible Man, meaning the clear see-through motherfucker,
Mm.
not Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man.
Okay.
And you really think about what that says, that you're in an African American studies class dealing with an African American studies professor, and you don't have enough insight to even know who Ralph Ellison is. You don't know who James Baldwin is. You don't know who Countee Cullen is. You don't know who Seiko Odinga is. You don't really even know who Jesus is.
Mhm.
Because in many ways, you've allowed a foreign people to educate your children. One of the advantages that the African has over black folk is that the African would be taken from Ghana, from Nigeria, and sent up into England to learn how to administrate Ghana or Nigeria. So they went away somewhere. Here we don't go away somewhere. We go right down the road to a college campus. and have the exact same effect.
Doc, I think, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I think unless there's a different way, because as I remember growing up in school, and of course, I joined the military, and I had a goal in mind, but I was so happy when I got stationed at 101st Airborne Division, because of what happened in World War II and how they fought their asses off. I admired that. And this is I was a teenager, impressionable, um, without guidance, but yet because I was learning American history, and I love history to this very day. I love history. Um, it inspired me to want to be there. And so, if white history can have you that way, why can't Black history have you that way, that you're willing to pick up the gun, you're willing to do what needs to be done for the freedom of your people? I don't see why one would have you do it and the other would have you not.
African American history can do that, but I think that there needs to become an understanding that you're talking about a organized, well-funded nation going to war versus a scant few individuals who are going to be taken out. Um, it's for me at the present moment, it is not a realistic expectation that um, Black folk are able to overthrow the U.S. government. The U.S. military, to confront the U.S. military. It's what Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about. I'm not going to send my people out there and have them get slaughtered. There has to be some sensibility, and so one has to really, in many ways, begin to consider what are the other lessons, what are the other options that one can use, and there is no grander option than the creation of independent, Black funded, Black owned, Black controlled, Black guided institutions. And until we get those lessons, we're going to continue to struggle, because very few of us are going to ever be able to come together and forge something significant. We need to have a situation where we're building together. We're building Black institutions that are going to be used to achieve something that may not come to fruition in our lifetime, but we are setting the groundwork for Black liberation.
Excellent, excellent. And Mr. Dofi, I was stationed at Fort Campbell from 1992 to 97. That's where I was at, Fort Campbell, all that time. Doc, our history has to inspire us to be able to do the things that's necessary. But at the same time, would you agree that is one of the reasons that white people don't want our history taught, because they are afraid that it will inspire our children to conquer their children?
I don't look at it like that. I don't believe that white folk are by and large concerned with what Black children are or aren't learning. I believe that white folk have because they have the power and the numerical superiority in the political organization to quite simply dictate what their children would learn. Now, if you stupid enough to put your Black child in the school to learn the curriculum that I'm crafting for my white child to conquer the world with, so be it. But your Black child is not going to get the same power from this education that my child is going to get. It's possible to be within the same educational institution. It's possible to be within the same classroom and not be taught. Teachers are able, the greatest indicator of a student's success in a classroom is not the materials. Black teachers have always had inferior materials and did wonderful things with them. You got to remember that Booker T. Washington came out of a segregated school system. You got to remember that W.E.B. Du Bois, his first foray in college, because Harvard didn't believe a Negro could be that intelligent, was actually Fisk University. But what we're looking at is quite simply white folk are saying, I want my child to study boom, 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 and boom. Now, your stupid black ass got your child in there, and they're not going to get the same thing from it. Because keep in mind that the average white teacher is white and female, which would make her almost terrified of, especially, well, black children in general. I remember being in we were in the 6th grade, and this is how white folk are able to plan without anybody black knowing the plans are occurring. One Monday, we come to 6th grade. Nothing special about this day. Nothing special that we knew as black students. And I was in the quote unquote accelerated college prep track. There were 4 or 5 of us who were black out of a school of probably, I don't know, 600-700. All of our white classmates had on sweatshirts, and those sweatshirts had the name of a college on them: Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Ohio State, Wittenberg, Oberlin. They were declaring where they were going to college. And they all had a situation where they went on those college visits that weekend before. They didn't include us in that. And technically, it wasn't even a school function. This was white parents emboldening their children. So here you have kids who have just come back from Notre Dame. How do you think his attention is going to be in that classroom versus those of us who just spent the weekend hanging out, having fun? And it's one of those things where we have to really begin to deal with the idea of being purposeful and understanding what is the outcome you want from this for this child.
Right.
Is it just quite simply, oh, they go in there and get you a diploma, and then I can get you on over here at the car wash? It's got to be purposeful. It's got to be planned out to the best ability that black folk can plan something. Because we all know that there are going to be unnecessary obstacles that they're going to put in front of us.
Correct.
So we got to be super planned.
Definitely. We got to. We're going to go look at the video and go over it and get your take on it, Doc. I think we are turning a corner in America, but let's check the video out.
Mr. Redden, is there anything you want to say on your own behalf before I pronounce sentence?
So basically, I would like to tell the courts and everyone here, like, based on my criminal history, like, I feel that, like, I shouldn't be, like, sent to prison for a second time.
Have you looked at your criminal history? Have you looked at your criminal history? I mean, you lived it, I suppose. Yeah. 3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on, sir. Battery on a protected person, robberies, attempt home invasion. Go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just.
I just figure like I'm in a better place in my mind, my mental health. I have a support system. I just got hired as a teamster for, the union, making $20 an hour. And like the reason behind every single domestic violence, I've been dealing with mental health, and I didn't know that I was dealing with mental health. When they put me in mental health court, I still didn't know that I had a mental health problem. And so it was August 2022 when I realized I have a problem with this. And like having a dictionary, like understanding myself, getting to know myself a little better, and applying it to my personality and having a epiphany at that moment. Those instances and just like trying to learn from my mistakes, And I feel like I shouldn't be sent to prison, but if it's appropriate for you, then you have to do what you have to do. But I figured that if I'm in a better place in my life, I'm not doing drugs, I'm not out there doing crimes now, and I feel like I should be given a shot because I'm in a better place than I was then, so that's, I'm a person who never stops trying to do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. And I just, and I'm trying, and I never give up trying to do the right thing. I know I'm not a rebellious person. I don't want to be angry. I want you to have to, sit up there and waste your time as well, I'm about what the criteria of me saying this is that I'm a person that never stops trying to do the right things, even if it's hard. I think the best I did. I have been.
Thank you.
The court can trust that he is going to perform well on probation. I think he's worth this risk. The court wants in 1948 is suggested by the DA. I would have no issue with that if it's suspended, rather than just sending him to prison for no sense given the circumstances of his ability to do probation. So that's good. Doing something.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
Get off her! Get off her! Oh man, you're good. You're good. Stop! Don't do this. Hey, where's Mary Kate? Is she okay?
You
don't scare Negroes.
So, and we're going to go and watch another video that talks about, what happens after the fact, but she got that ass waxed. I mean, he jumped over that. He didn't even hit the damn desk. He went right over that thing. That was fight the power. B1 whoop ass all the way. Because she about to say some smart shit out of her mouth. Oh, I want you about to try. I want you to try something else.
That brother would have been great at track and field. You know how they do that high jump and they jump back? He could have just jumped forward.
I tell you, I ain't never seen nothing like it. I never seen nothing like it.
He jumped up like he was Blade. This brother,
exactly.
He is a vampire killer. he not only jumped over the podium, he landed right on her. And I know all the court officers, all the security, they didn't get fired.
Oh.
They got fired. That's just what it is. Nobody saw this coming.
Exactly. And he was all cool and calm, and I got a job making $20 an hour with the union. I'm in a better space right now. Blah 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 blah. Giving a good story. And then the judge. So evidently, what the prosecutor and his lawyer worked out was a deal that if he be good, he don't go to jail.
All he wanted is a chance. He wants a chance. The brother said, "Fuck this shit. You can send me to jail."
Oh boy, he said it's gonna be worth it because I'm gonna whoop your ass when I get a hold of you.
Oh my God. See, that's a man that people usually say, if I ever see you out in the street, it's gonna be on. He wouldn't anticipate. He wasn't waiting to see you out on the street. he jumped clean on the judge.
Oh yeah, he got to that ass. He
Yeah.
got to that ass good fashion. You know, it's like my Auntie Vine used to say when we was little children and we'd be acting up, and she'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna fix you. I'm gonna fix you." We knew what that shit mean.
Yeah,
We about
yeah.
to get fucked up.
Yeah, like Deacon of Reality said, that is the personification of on site. I don't care where it's at. I don't care if it's the grocery store, the gas station, or even the courtroom. It's on site.
Exactly.
That's a man of his word right there.
Definitely. And it really did my heart good to see it. Because she doesn't represent justice. She doesn't really give justice. And now I'm not excusing, I want to get the record straight, any of his criminality. I'm not saying it's okay to be a criminal. That's not what I'm saying. But she is just as guilty as being a criminal, just like the United States government is. They all have a part to play in that brother's criminality. They have a part to play. It's just like your president said, fuck that. I don't care about how they got that way. Yeah, we may have done it to them, but we talking about them not knocking my sons over or taking or breaking in my mom's house, But this is what America has made. And it is not a laughing matter. This is serious 100%. She got her ass whooped because she earned it. I really believe she earned that. And I'm glad that she got every lick in that she should have gotten in. Let's take a quick look at the next video. Did you want anything else to add to that, Doc? You on mute, Doc. You got to unmute yourself.
Okay. Oh, sorry about that. The entire situation, listening to what you were saying, reminded me, ironically, an episode of The Wire when Omar Little went to court. Do you remember that scene?
Some parts of it, but I don't remember.
Let me see if you don't mind. I like to see if I can share this.
Okay.
And, because I think it's real appropriate, because everybody involved in the court system and the locking up of Black men has a role.
Mr. Little.
I told the police what I know.
Were you arrested? Were you going to be charged with a crime? And by testifying, did the police agree to drop those charges?
Nah, man, ain't even about that.
How many times have you been arrested as an adult, Mr. Little?
Sure, I done lost count. No, don't have to take it personal.
Possession of a handgun, possessing a concealed weapon, assault by pointing, robbery, deadly weapon, possession of a handgun again, followed by violation of parole on weapon charges, followed by one count of attempted murder and use of a handgun in commission of a felony.
That wasn't no attempt murder.
What was it, Mr. Little?
I shot the boy Mike in his hind parts, that all. Fixed it so he couldn't sit right.
Why'd you shoot Mike in his hind parts, Mr. Little?
You say we had a disagreement.
A disagreement over?
Well, you see, Mike thought he should keep that cocaine he was slinging and the money he was making from slinging it. I thought otherwise.
So you rob drug dealers? This is what you do?
Yes, sir.
You walk the streets of Baltimore with a gun, taking what you want when you want it, willing to use violence when your demands aren't met. This is who you are. Why should we believe your testimony then? Why believe anything you say?
That's up to y'all, really.
You say you aren't here testifying against the defendant because of any deal you made with police.
True that.
That you're here because you want to tell the truth about what happened to Mr. Gant in that housing project parking lot.
Yep.
When in fact, you are exactly the kind of person who would, if you felt you needed to, shoot a man down on a housing project parking lot and then lie to the police about it, would you not?
And look, I ain't never put my gun on no citizen.
You are amoral, are you not? You are feeding off the violence and the despair of the drug trade. You're stealing from those who themselves are stealing the lifeblood from our city. You are a parasite who leeches off
just like you,
the culture of drugs. Excuse me? What?
I got the shotgun. Got the briefcase. It's on the game. All right.
All in the game.
Exactly. Exactly. And nobody's hands are innocent. None. Okay. So let's look at the after effects and come back and discuss it.
After that brutal attack in a Las Vegas courtroom, officials providing a highly anticipated update on Judge Mary Kay Holthus.
Judge Holthus was injured and received medical attention. She remains sore and stiff, but thankful it was not more severe.
Judge Holthus releasing a statement thanking well-wishers, writing, "I am extremely grateful to those who took brave action during the attack." The shocking incident captured on courtroom cameras playing out as the seasoned judge was sentencing 30-year-old Deobra Redden to prison for attempted battery. The defendant, who has a history of violent assaults, jumping over the bench, tackling her to the ground, and sending a court-martial to the hospital. The terrifying episode calling into question security procedures in our nation's courts. How common is it to have attacks or threats like this in a courtroom?
Attacks like this, these emotional, impromptu acts of violence occur probably daily in courtrooms across the country.
Like this incident in Mississippi, a suspect caught on video throwing things at the judge. But Las Vegas officials say they've never seen anything like this.
There's plenty of instances where somebody is, becomes rowdy in the courtroom, and this is the first one I've seen where somebody supermaned over the judicial bench.
Redden faces multiple new felony charges of battery, including battery against a protected person, meaning the judge and her court staff. According to court records, he refused to appear in court Thursday to face those new charges. Clark County's district attorney says the court is now reviewing its security protocols.
Redden's reaction happened so quickly, I don't know if anything could have been done to prevent him from what he did.
Now, according to those court records, Redden is set to return to court on Tuesday. Judge Holthus is still planning to oversee that hearing where she's going to sentence Redden for his initial crime. The court does plan to add another court-martial for extra safety. And we did reach out to Redden's lawyers, but they're not commenting, Craig.
All right, glad that judge is okay. Liz, court's for us. Liz, thank you. Hey, thanks for watching.
I'm all for women's equality and a woman being able to have whatever job. But look here, when it comes to the courtroom and all that, nah, you need some men up in there. Was it Atlanta where the sister was escorting her brother back to the jail and he overpowered her and took her gun and all of that? Yeah. No, you can't. No, baby, you can't do this job because he whoop ass. that's what, I mean, he got like 8 domestic violence charges against him, and that's just the charges that they put against him. He probably got 40 of them going on. He don't mind whooping a woman's ass, and you gonna put her in a gun and it? No, y'all need to redo that. That look here, this is who they need to get as consultants? The Nation of Islam. That's what courtrooms need to look like now. The judge need to stand up there like the minister does behind 4 or 5 people who look like, yo, give me the reason.
That would be something.
Yeah.
That would be something. I want to go to this next video and get your ideas on that as I watched that this morning.
And I need to say this. And black people, please quit naming your son Diobra. No, he's he ain't gonna get no job with that name.
Let's check this out.
Tonight, serious allegations that some Baltimore City schools continue to falsify student report cards.
6 years ago, a mother told Project Baltimore her son was being cheated out of an education. Tonight, that mother tells Chris Papps it's still happening.
Me standing on Fox 45, pissed off.
Project Baltimore first met Tamika Harrison and her son in 2017.
African American, they're filled up with prisons. They're filling up with the grades. I don't want this for my son.
Harrison was upset with the grades her son had received on his report card. 2 A's, 2 B's, and a C. Seems like a good marking period, which was the problem because Harrison's son at the time had a medical condition. He wasn't in school.
If he gets these A's and B's, damn it, it better be because he's earning them.
A student given a falsified report card by Baltimore City schools. Harrison told Fox 45 it was happening in 2017. 6 years later, she says it's still happening.
As fraudulent can be. If that's not breaking a law, I don't know what is.
Harrison's son is now 18. Fox 45 is not naming or showing him. He attends Renaissance Academy, a high school in West Baltimore. And here is his most recent progress report. Take a look at this section. You can see under student service learning hours, he's completed 103.5 hours. In Maryland, to graduate from high school, students must earn 21 course credit hours in approved subjects. They must also complete a minimum of 75 service learning hours. State law defines service learning hours as an unpaid activity completed by the student, which must meet a need in the community. Examples include honoring veterans, promoting literacy, or supporting animal welfare. At more than 103, Harrison's son has far more service learning hours than he needs to graduate. That is what his progress report says. But according to Harrison, her son didn't do any of it.
You don't have any idea how your son got 103 service learning hours.
Absolutely not. He doesn't even know. He looked me straight in my face and said, Ma, you can just get him by coming to school.
Just showing up at school.
Just showing up. I felt like I had an out-of-body experience. I'm past pissed.
In the past 6 years, Project Baltimore has spoken to a number of parents like Harrison, reporting extensively on city schools, falsifying report cards. We've exposed grades that were not earned, attendance for students who were not there, and now apparently service learning hours that were not completed. Our investigations even caught the attention of Maryland's Inspector General for Education.
If you're setting them up for failure, this is a way of doing it.
In 2022, the IG released a report finding that over a 4-year period, city schools changed at least 12,500 failing grades to passing when there was no evidence the students earned the passing grade.
I'm doing well. Can we just talk to you on your way out?
City schools leadership will not grant Project Baltimore an interview to discuss the falsification of report cards. Harrison says she's gone to the school system multiple times and hasn't gotten any answers either. So at a recent event, we took Harrison's concerns to school CEO, Dr. Sonia Santelises.
What safeguards are in place to ensure that service learning hours are awarded
We are
properly?
more than happy to answer that. We've got a team on that. More than happy. If you want to reach out with that question, we can get some folks to talk to you.
But does it concern you that there's a mother who says that her son is getting service learning hours towards graduation that he didn't earn?
As we have shown many questions from parents, more than happy to have them call us, just like we did with some of the other questions. So more than happy to do that. You can have that parent reach out to us, Chris. More than happy to talk to them.
She's reached out plenty of times. She's been in North Avenue's building.
But she is more than free to reach out, as are you. Chris, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thank you. Dr.
It's heartbreaking. I know my son is smart. I know when he gets it, he gets it.
In 2017, Tamika Harrison wanted her son to learn the skills he needs to be successful.
He knows that, I can just show up and do 20%. They gonna give me the other 80.
In 2023, she says that's not what he's learned.
I'm gonna get a high school diploma anyway, over my dead body, over my dead body, literally. They're gonna have to kill me if they think I'm gonna let that happen.
Project Baltimore wants to hear from you. Do you have a child whose report card appears to be falsified with grades they didn't earn, service learning hours they did not complete? Call our hotline, send me an email, go to foxbaltimore.com to follow our progress. I'm Chris Pabst. Thanks for watching. Here's another.
And definitely this is fair use. We will be discussing it and giving it our own definition and interpretation. Doc, what say you about that we just watched?
You know, working in the field of education, just being honest with you, I've seen this repeatedly. I've seen this 30 years now, 30 years in the game of being a professor, where people are just passed along just because, you know, you're trying to get rid of that headache. You know, I actually had a administrator tell me, because I'm one of those that makes my students actually do their work. And this administrator said, because, you know, a fellow student and they issue a grade complaint and what have you. And this administrator said, man, why do you do that? He said, why you make your life so hard? Just pass them. They ain't going nowhere anyway. I mean, really think about that. And for me, I can't do it, because this is dealing with the next generation of Black America. You know, but it's common. It's common. They had the I know they were in Atlanta. Remember they had those teachers who got together, teachers and administrators, and they changed all those standardized test scores. You know?
Yep.
You know, and the thing is, this is the thing that gets me when we begin to talk about these types of stories. It's always Black folk. You can be sure that this is occurring rampantly, even more grotesquely, within affluent communities. You know, one of my colleagues, she worked at University of Massachusetts Amherst, and then she ended up matriculating to Clark Atlanta. And I asked her, I said, well, now you were at a highbrow white school, and then you ended up at a HBCU. What's the difference? And she said, well, Black schools ain't got no money. White schools got all the money in the world. She said, that's one difference. She said, but the other thing is that I spend 13, 14 weeks of a semester trying to prove that I belong in front of this classroom to these snooty white kids. Then they leave, they take their finals and they leave, and I get the opportunity to do it all over again to a new group of white kids who don't believe that my Black face should be in the front of this classroom. So it's education. It's American education. It's once again the reason why this nation is lagging behind and will continue to lag behind.
You know, Doc, the hypocrisy behind this educational system that we have, as Tranquil said, here's the thing. We know schools are failing our children. Be past pissed about children earning exemplary grades they are denied. That's falsification, and I'm going to prioritize it. when we look at Baltimore for a fact, because I read the different reports that they're graduating their high school seniors and they can't even read their diploma.
Mm. Mm.
These people should be all locked up and thrown in jail. And here's the thing, Doc. Where the hell are the parents? Because even this lady blaming the school, but I'm looking at her. What your ass been doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why have you allowed this? And it's this part of personal responsibility that's missing.
Mm-hmm.
They all want to blame the school like you innocent. And this is where I have a problem at, because our people are not innocent. Their mama, their daddy, they're not innocent. They're culpable in the failure of their own children.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that this is something that has to be brought out, that has to be discussed, because the school ain't doing no real teaching for what, maybe because the children are out of control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe because some of the teachers don't give a shit. But there's a major failure. And in order to fix it, it starts at home. What are your thoughts on that, Doc?
The thing is that somewhere along the line, some children learn how to be and others don't. And the only place that could be traced to is the home. You learn discipline at home. You learn attention to detail and duty at home, versus just allowing the kids to grow up and to just learn how to carve out lives that keep them out of your face. As long as they're out of your face, you really don't care anything about them. You have to think about within any state, any city, the teachers by and large have all gone to the same college. Okay. So why is it that some teachers who are at elite schools where parents are highly engaged, love their jobs, and they're able to do it, and they're this, and that, and then those who are at the public school system level, they're fighting every day with kids, literally physically fist fighting. We've seen these tapes of kids getting out of hand with their teachers, with adults. Okay, so now you got that going on. As an educator, how do you deal with that? What do you deal with it? How, what's going on? That this child cannot sit here. There ain't nothing wrong with this child as far as a mental health issue. They haven't had an ounce of discipline put into their lives. They've been raised by people who were by and large not disciplined themselves. When we talk about this idea of a generational curse, a lot of that is cultural. You got heart disease because it run in our family. My mama had it, my grandmama. Well, y'all all ate the same thing. And you got 3-4 generations of people saying, "Oh, that school ain't shit," and blah blah. Those are the hell raisers within the school.
Yep.
And it's a situation. I remember, like I said earlier, I was one of the 4 or 5 that were put in the black students that were put in the college prep accelerated course, and I wanted to be with my friends, and they were on what, believe it or not, they referred to it as B track. They were on the vocational track, and so I came up with a plan. I was going to flunk the next standardized test that they gave me, and flunk it grotesquely, and I did. I missed every single question. I knew the answer, so I knew what to put down to make it wrong. They ended up calling my mom out there and informing her that, I was, I had a learning disability. I couldn't read, and then, this and that. And my mother She basically said, listen, he's been reading since he was 3. I know he can read. What's going on? And they showed her the test. And she looked at me and she said, can I have a couple moments with him? Principal leaves and he's like, oh, no, you can't beat him. She said, I ain't going to beat him. And I can tell you verbatim to this day exactly what she said. She said, nigga, you going to take this test again. Miss one. Now, I had, I knew the answer. So, they came back and gave me the test. I got all of them right. He said, oh, my God, this is a miracle. She said, ain't it? So we're walking out of the office, and the secretary, I'm from a small town. Our secretary, Miss Edith Lawrence, God bless her soul, she was went to the same church we went to, and my mother turns to her and she said, Edie, take my name out of his file. Put Jimmy Jones on there. Next time he get in trouble, you call the steel mill and have his dad come out here. And I'm like, oh no, because my dad worked on a line with my uncles and my fictive kin uncles. And if my dad if one of them missed a day of work, the entire line shut down, so none of them got paid.
Ooh, shucks.
Yeah. So can you imagine the pressure I'm under to not mess up ever? Okay, because I'm gonna get beat by 7, 8 big, large Negroes because I done messed their money up because I want to be a fool up in school. So I knew that's a part of me learning how to be, that there's a line. And once you cross that line, hey, they ain't gonna call me. They're gonna call the steel mill. And don't be surprised if 4 carloads of angry working class Negroes show up and ask all the white folk, would y'all please leave the area, because it's getting ready to be some furniture moving up in here. So you learn what that level is. And when children don't know their place, you end up with these situations. But then there's this other end of it, which is quite simply that many of these, like the brother, what was the name? The Obra. If the Obra was a middle class white boy, they would have said he got affluenza, he wouldn't really do well in prison, and what we're going to do is we're going to put him in a program and give him another chance. And it would be chance after chance after chance after chance. And our kids know that. Our kids know intuitively that they're not being treated and they're being overpunished at a rate that is, in a word, not fair. And they also understand that there isn't anybody within their community who has the rank or the power to really come up in here and check these white folk unless it involves physical violence. So from my position, everybody wrong.
Definitely. More of the hypocrisy. I want to go to one more video, and this would be our last for tonight, and get your thoughts on this one, Doc.
This is not a typo either. Testimony of blind witness. Landed an innocent man in prison. Chicago, Darian Harris, a man who spent more than a decade behind bars for a murder he did not commit, was freed from prison 2 weeks after a judge overturned the conviction due to new evidence that undermined the prosecution's case. Harris was convicted in 2014 for the June 2011 shooting death of Rondell Moore 3 years earlier at a gas station in the Woodlawn neighborhood, Chicago's South Side. Darian Harris will spend, when he was arrested in 2011, I should say, Harris was 18. He was a senior in high school, no criminal record, while his subsequent trial ended in a 76-year prison sentence. Atlanta Black Star with the details. So painful this is. Over the years, Harris's family maintained his innocence, saying the young man was at home watching a basketball game at the time of the killing. About 5 years after Harris was sent away, relatives learned that a key prosecution witness who identified Harris as the shooter was legally blind, leading to demands for Cook County State Attorney Kim Foxx to throw out the conviction. Soon, the Exoneration Project at the University of Chicago Law School joined the effort to free Harris, claiming the prosecution witness had advanced glaucoma and could see nothing when the shooting happened. There's also never any physical evidence to link Harris to the crime, adding more pressure on Fox to dismiss the charges, which she finally did earlier this week. Prosecutors have not said whether they will retry Harris, but did indicate that Fox's office will continue to review the facts of the case. Really? Is that what we're doing here? You're going to continue to review the case? I guess. Soon, the Exoneration Project, as we said, was on this case, and they're the ones that got her to overturn it. But now 30 years old, married, Harris went home for the holidays for the first time in more than a decade. Harris smiled, expressed gratitude for the positive turn of events in his life. I lost a lot of things that no amount of money can repay, he said at a press conference outside lockup. I'd rather take my time back because I've missed some of my best years. I don't know what took Kim Foxx so long. She did Jussie Smollett a solid, didn't she? This the same lady that did Jussie Smollett a solid on that fantastical story that, well, you decide what you think about it. I'm just saying it's the same lady. Ravana, he was 18, no prior convictions, anything really, police involvement that we know of, presumably had an alibi, home watching a basketball game. What are you doing here? And, oh, I buried the lead. A blind person identified him. What is going on here? And don't dare tell me about the part where he can only get so much money per year. And you're still reviewing the case instead of issuing an apology, Kim? You let Jussie, well, go ahead.
The idea that they would retry him specifically in this case is so absolutely despicable. I don't want my taxpayer dollars as a resident of Chicago continuing to going into researching his involvement in this case, which was none, aside from being a victim in this case, unless they want to go after the prosecutors who knowingly let a legally blind woman ID him in this case. I don't want another dime going into this. It is, and it is a lack of taking responsibility on their part. They're trying to find a way that they don't have to necessarily apologize to ruining, because they ruined this individual's life. They took away, as he said, some of the best years of his life. He's only a couple years older than me, and I couldn't imagine spending the last 10 years of my life in prison. You've lost that formative experience of your life, and now you have to be reintroduced into a world without the skills that people in your same peer group have, without those resources. And it's devastating. And it feels like, Chicago has a history of rampant corruption in our police system. People always wonder why we call prosecutors cops. This is why we call prosecutors cops, cases like this. But we have a history of corruption with our prosecutors historically. Not necessarily accusing them of that in this case, but if the shoe fits. But that being said, it seems every day when I have the news on, when I'm at the gym walking on the treadmill and it's on in the background, there's always a story of someone being released from our prisons for being wrongfully convicted. And it should make everyone consider how many other stories like this are there that we're just not hearing because they didn't get picked up at some law school by their, the exoneration project that they happen to have, or they didn't have the resources to investigate fully every single case. They couldn't argue for every single inmate who's wrongfully convicted. There are, thousands of people in this country serving life sentences, spending decades in jail for crimes they did not commit. because of corruption, or because of a lack of resources in some cases, or because nobody cares about their story, and we just
That
need
part.
so much overhaul in our, to be honest, injustice system that we have in this country.
I don't want people who can't. There's enough people that you can put away if that's your jam. Okay, you don't have to scoop up kids off the street, a senior in high school who did nothing wrong, and then you can't admit it. Okay, Kim and company, this is a coordinated thing. Somebody, lots of people knew this was a sham. Okay, you're making me believe that when Samuel Jackson was in The Negotiator, that this is actually who you are. There's this corruption, Chicago PD, is there? Or was that just a movie Sam and Kevin Spacey were part of? I don't know. I'm just telling you what it looks like.
All right, Doc. What say you?
You just have to weep for the thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of young folk who get caught up. And there are situations, and I think that with any situation, we need to figure out what is the desired outcome that we want. And if you have a prosecutor whose desired outcome is for truth and justice to reign, you may stand a chance. But if you have a very highly publicized case, and you got a prosecutor who has their outcome, their ultimate outcome is to be the governor, they're going to do what the prosecutor in the Scottsboro boys case said. He said, I'm going to ride these boys' black asses straight up into the governor's office. It's heartbreaking. And the unfortunate thing is that now a brutal crime was committed against this young man. And those who committed it aren't even being looked at for any charges, malicious prosecution, anything. They just go ahead and go on with their lives. Where is the system of checks and balances? Where's the deterrence? Because they need to in every way be addressed in a major way, but that's asking the prosecutor to prosecute the prosecutor. And they're not gonna do that. It would be career suicide for them. So heartbreaking. And I hope and I pray that those who love that brother don't believe that freedom is enough to make him whole. He's been to gladiator school with grown men, many of whom are hardened criminals. There's no telling what he's experienced, what he's seen, what he's had done to him. At the least, counseling. At the least.
Definitely. I think this really takes the cake. We talked about the white woman who had the dream that the black man raped her, and he went to jail. He went to jail for 40 years. His brother, a blind person, was the eyewitness in his case, and he goes to jail for over a decade. And we call this American justice.
Yeah.
My God. But as we said, democracy is hypocrisy, and this is where it all starts. Your government is a bunch of liars and lies, then they feed you lies, and your educational system and lies, and your justice system lies, and your food system lies. And you wonder, why have your life become a damn lie? Because you're surrounded by them, you eat them, and then you take the lie and you start teaching others to continue more lies. Well, Doc, we are over our time. What are your closing comments for this evening?
Just glad to be here. Glad to be able to see my brother. Glad to be able to build and to experience this, and just grateful for everything. I'm right now dealing with my father suffered a mild stroke, and to see him for the first time in my life kind of weakened has really, refocused a whole lot of things in my life about what life is about, what's important, and what have you. So I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to be here with us, because you could be, as Jay-Z put it, you could be anywhere in the world, but you chose to come here with us, and it's definitely appreciated. So peace to you all.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. And we definitely pray that Dad gets better and can return to his old self and his old shape and form prior to the mini stroke. Let's all take time to love on our family members, because we definitely need them, but we know not the day, the time, nor the hour. And so let's love them while we have the opportunity. And, we will be live again Sunday at 4:00. We're going to look at the military. And we have so many members of the Black community going into the military and spending years upon years there. And we're going to look at there and see, is there racial harmony? Is there racial justice? What's going on in the military? We want to add some other topics as well, but we're going to take a look at it and see what it is. So we all thank you all for joining us. We thank you for supporting us. We thank you for loving us, because you'll know that we definitely love you. As we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first, today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
You better get the message and get it straight. You're going to need some bridge work. It's simple as that. Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.